Hello, 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 and welcome to the Talking Drum on Aproko. What am I saying? The Talking Drum on Viva Naija Radio. I've been waiting for Aproko to come because Friday is going to be the shiznit. Aosha does he have herpes again? Maybe his herpes is a disappearing herpes. I don't know. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. I have to be serious today because we're actually dealing with a very serious topic. I am, as usual, your host. My name is Rachel, and this is the Talking Drum, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of the Nigerian society. We try to add value to your lives. We try to answer the questions that you're asking amongst friends, amongst co-workers, particularly for a lot of us who are out in diaspora. There's things about being back home or actually being here that give us cause for concern, or at least cause for pause, and we try to deal with these topics. So we're hoping to bring you another exciting episode of the Talking Drum. Thank you for joining us. As usual, I am not by myself. I am going to be joined by the usual panelists. You know who the usual suspects are. And of course, for this particular topic, we have some specialists in the house because, of course, the blind leading the blind or the deaf leading the deaf, we're not going to get anywhere. So we rely on people to bring their own 2 cents worth and to actually, we don't just want to talk, right? We want to do better. We want to do differently. We want to see what little change we can make for ourselves by ourselves. Today's topic is Nigerians and their health, attitudes, perceptions, and the future. Why do we deal with healthcare the way that we do? Why do we treat it so with so much disregard almost? Why does it seem like the white counterparts seem to take their health more seriously? They're always down at the doctors. They're always doing checkups. Things almost never catch them unawares, whereas we seem to spend a lot of time not doing anything about anything until it's almost too late. So we're going to put this to bed today. We're actually going to talk about the good, the bad, why we act the way we act. Is it that people are just dismissive about their health, or are there societal, are there cultural factors that lead to this? We're also this is something we tend to not do on this show, but we're gonna start seeing a lot more of it actually as we start getting more and more serious. We're also gonna talk about the role of religion in healthcare. Why is it that people go to Orioke instead of going to their doctors? Why is it that they take one person to the village where wants it labor or what have you, or it's something that defies medical understanding and things like that. So these are all the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about finance. We're going to talk about, what role does finance play? Do people genuinely not care about their health? Or is it the cost of going to a hospital or visiting a hospital that is the main hindrance there? In a country where the leader of the country has to travel abroad to get health care or to get so-called appropriate health care, what hope does the average man and woman have? And then again, we also talk about the expertise of the healthcare or the quality of healthcare that is available. So you go ahead, you sell your car, sell your house, sell everything, this, only for your person to still finally pass away, or to still, to still come to a tragic end. All this and more today. So let me talk to the people in the house, and let me start by bringing in our guests because they're joining us for the first time. These are the people who are going to be talking us through it, giving us their expert advice. As you know, I'm a lay person. The only time I go to the doctor is if there's something wrong with me or whatever the case may be. These are the people who talk about what they see every day. These are the people who talk about how we can make a change, because talk and talk and talk without action, without action points or what we can do differently is just hot air. So I'm going to start with a friend, someone who's just been introduced to me a few days ago, who was invited to come on this show, and now it seems like I've known her for a while. I'll let her introduce herself and talk about what exactly it is that she does. Christiana, hi, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Good evening. Hi. Yes, we can hear you perfectly. Hi, Christiana.
Okay.
So could you tell
Hi,
us
good
what your
evening.
area of specialty is, please?
Okay, I'm a nurse, and I'm a general practitioner nurse.
Okay.
I'm into reproductive health, family planning,
Okay. So
and
that's reproductive
care of
health
people
and
with
family planning,
health.
right?
Yeah, care of people living with HIV,
Okay.
HIV/AIDS intervention program.
Okay. Okay, this is actually very important because it's not just healthcare, it's also like taboo healthcare. So it's really a pleasure to have you here. Now we're going to move on swiftly to my main girl, Lolo, my personal person. Our mommy. Mutiatu.
Oh my God. Oh wow, that's quite an introduction. Thank you very much for having me.
You're
My
welcome.
name is
Thank you for
Mutiat.
joining.
My name is Mutiat Sunshine. I am a nurse practitioner. I am adult gerontology, so I see patients from age 13 and above. And I've been a nurse for over a decade and a nurse practitioner for about 4 years, 3-4 years now. I do a lot. My focus right now, I'm into preventive health.
Okay.
I'm a passionate advocate of preventive health. I believe that if you can catch something, there's an adage that says a stitch in time saves 9.
Absolutely.
And if you can catch something right now, we can do so much, and we can stop things in action, and try prevent death or prevent chronic illnesses or work on it. So that's who I am. So that's
Fantastic.
me.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It was very important for me that it is not the usual panel sitting around and talking, because this is a field that I have such limited knowledge on. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for being a part of the show. So let me welcome in the other two people who are on the line with us. They are the regular panel members. Let me start with Nkiru Kama. How are you, my darling?
I'm fine, no. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, ladies, to the show. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hello, everyone. Hello. Rachel,
Hi. Welcome.
Welcome.
Sure, you have been behaving yourself.
Which one?
Rachel, London.
Rachel, London. Why are you starting with
American
me now?
one is fine. Now, London one I do worry about.
American one is fine. Please, ladies. So let me say to you, and we're going to get to the serious part of the show, but let me tell you what American Rachel did just last week, which they hit. She went, only God knows, maybe it's their own that they bought, so maybe she went to zoo to go and kidnap. She has pictures of herself. She has a whole goat, hung upside down, and she beheaded the goat by herself, not her husband, not anybody. This girl,
Only her.
Blood
Blood of Jesus.
do you know what? I was in my feelings when I saw that picture. I've never even seen it in Nigeria. Say, woman, go stand by goat. I said, the goat was hanging up from a tree or from a branch. I don't even know.
Wow. The desire of good goat meat can make certain things happen.
The thing I've even seen before in my life is all these men that do their I've never seen woman. Rachel went to stand by goats and was really, maybe she was giving the goat beard gang or shaving the goats. I don't know what this girl was doing.
Burning up the hair. She did burn the hair. You don't see the fire.
So I'm telling you something. So don't ask me if I'm the one behaving. I've not been running around capturing neighbors' goats and be killing them and hanging them upside down. I sit in my house. I mind my business. This is how I am. So thank you so much for joining us. And of course, you've all heard Rachel's voice. So Rachel is in the house with us. For those of you listening in, if you are calling us from Nigeria, these are the numbers you need to dial from the various countries, right? So if you're dialing from Nigeria, you need 01440 5024. If you are calling from the UK, that number is 0330 998 1261. My callers, my people from America, you need 712-770-4032. No matter what country you're calling from, you're going to need the access code. The access code is 264811. 2. Once you pop in that number and you end it with the hash sign or the pound sign or whatever you want to call it, you are straight in the studio. We would love to hear your opinions. So let's get dirty. Let's get right into it. Let's start talking right from the beginning. Let me ask a general helicopter question to start with. And I'm going to start with Christiana. Christiana, give me an overview of what you feel like the people's, I'm not talking about the healthcare system now. What do you feel like the people's attitude is towards their health? Not towards hospitals are good, hospitals are bad. Their health, my personal health, me. How do you think Nigerians in general take their health? Do you think they take it seriously? Do you think they take it like an ostrich where they have their head in the sand and they are hoping, there's no problem, everything will be fine? Do you think they spend time, they spend money? Do you think they do the kind of things that Onyibo do in this you hear of yoga, you hear of aerobics, you hear of all sorts of things? Do you think Nigerians care about their health or even their history? Do they know who has diabetes in their family? Do they know who suffered the whatever you want to call it, have heart complications or what have you? Do you think the average Nigerian cares about their health?
Well, thank you very much, Rachel. Nice having you in the house.
Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you. In terms of the way they take their health, I've been so poor. They don't take it too important.
Okay.
They feel they attribute everything that happens to them to be spiritual.
I see.
It's until when it goes to the terminal end before you see them running to the hospital when the case has already been written off.
When it's too late.
Like, this is me. I'm having an headache. I need to see a doctor. Oh no, I'm having a pain somewhere. They will just say, I can take paracetamol, I'll be okay. They take it as it's nothing. It is nothing to them. I'm having a, I must meet up a business plan. I must meet up an appointment.
Do you find this? Is this something that happens with both the learned and the unlearned? Because when you're saying spiritual, my mind goes to Yajamiu that sells pepper. Is this something that you also find amongst the residents of Lekki, for example, amongst the residents of Ikoyi, for example, amongst the residents of Ikeja? Or is there a class attitude towards health?
Well, I would say before you can see someone that will say if our health so important, that person will have been out of the shore of the country.
Okay.
Seeing what is happening, what is the state of health, how must you view your health? But someone that has not gone out of the shore of the country will like, this is not normal. I'm not supposed to have this. Someone said I will see. Someone has done this to me yesterday. I fought with someone, Before you see someone that will say, no, this is me, this is my health first. That person will have been out of the shore of this country and have seen what is obtainable.
Okay. So I like that you're talking about the shores of this country, because I actually want to talk to Mutiat now and direct the question to Mutiat. And of course, I'm coming to you as well, Rachel Yankee. And I'm also going to speak to you as well, Nkiru, because I know you have some knowledge of this field, even if you're not proper in healthcare like that. Mutiat, of course, I know that you don't get to pick your patients. You could have Hispanic today, have Oyinbo tomorrow, what have you. But when you see a name and they roll the person in on the gurney or on the stretcher or whatever, and you see that name and it's something Balogun or Chukujindu, Chiemeka or what have you, do you see certain trends in the way that they take their health, in the way that they talk to you about what could be going on with them? Is there certain things that you hear that you're like, but why are people like this? Are there trends in the way even the Nigerians in diaspora treat their health?
It's unfortunately, I hate to say it's the same thing. It's the same as much as we have access to healthcare, because one of the things I believe Nigeria has issues with is access to healthcare.
Okay.
So I believe in here in the United States we have access, but people still do not seek out help. People they believe that, like my colleague over there said that, when I have a headache I can take paracetamol, I'll be fine. Fine, you can take paracetamol, but the headache will go away. Headache is a symptom of something. What is the cause of it? Most people do not look for it. They just think, headache is something simple. I can take care of it. Or at home, I know of people here that they'll be talking to me jokingly and they have abdominal pain or they're going to the bathroom. Nigerians, educated, that will take the ampicillus they brought from Nigeria or the flagell they brought from Nigeria and they'll use it. And I'm like, and some of them actually talk to me and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Not everything, as much as we want to treat things, there's some things we don't treat. I am a form of diarrhea. If you have diarrhea, what is the cause of it? You got to find the cause of something before you start treating it. So it's unfortunately, it goes
I'm not
everywhere.
even gonna lie. I have thank God no man has joined us. Is there any man in the house? Dolapo, is that you? One number came on now. Is it a man?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Dolapo, close your ears first. I'm coming. So
I can hear that big voice.
it's our Barry White. I have what do they call that thing? Postino. So let's continue. So Dolapo, thank you so much for joining us, ladies. This is the Barry White of the Bad Gang. This is The Voice. This is Dolapo. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Dolapo.
Hello,
ladies. How are you?
Yes, thank you.
Mutiat. Karen,
Yes,
so
I do now.
Who's on the line with me today?
Okay,
my name
is see that voice.
Let me ask you this one. Hello, my name is Mutia. How do you do?
No. We trying to change her voice. If you listen to her video, her Facebook live video, the voice has changed. Oh my goodness. We have to be controlling this Barry White.
I suppose I guess you're saying she probably sounds even nicer on a video, right?
No, it sounds nice. Are we doing Big Brothers Africa?
This is our Barry White, so we don't play with him at all.
We have to be controlling our Barry White. We have to be controlling, We release him in small doses.
Look, I let him out only at certain times.
That's it.
Yes,
So let me introduce you to the ladies. Dolapo, we have the usual suspects. Bimbo isn't here at the moment, but Nkiru's here, Risha America is here, and of course there's myself.
Hi, Dee.
Hey, ladies, how are you?
And then we have Mutiat calling in. She is a registered a health worker calling from America. And then we have Christiana, and she's calling in from Nigeria. The topic we're covering today is Nigerians and their health, their attitudes towards their health, their perceptions about healthcare. And the little bit we've covered so far is that it seems to transcend borders. So where we feel like, maybe they're not taking proper care of their health in Nigeria because healthcare isn't accessible, or because that which is accessible is expensive, Mutiat is now educating us and letting us know that actually their behavior is the same, or their attitude towards their own healthcare is absolutely the same in America as well. They want to take flagell that they brought from Nigeria. They want to take, they want to self-medicate. They want to take Panadol for a headache without getting to the bottom of the headache, especially if it's an incessant headache that keeps coming on and coming on and coming on, and they just they just think, I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. So that's where we were. Musiat was actually telling us this. So let me talk to Rachel Yankee real quick. Rachel, can you bring us up to date with what your field is? I know you're a healthcare worker, but I'm not sure what's your specialty?
I was going to yab you that you didn't want me to be great now. Okay. Let's leave the little girl at home. So I am also a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I work out of New York. I right now my specialty is home care, but I also specialize in mental health.
Okay.
I've been a nurse for about 12 years. In the course of that period, I've worked in clinics, home care, I've worked in the jail system, I've seen a little bit of everything. And I have worked with Nigerians, and I have to agree with Mutiat. We are the same all across. It doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter what access we have. And I'm also guilty of that sometimes, so I'm not putting myself out here as a saint. We work until we can't stand no more. That's when we go to the doctor.
True.
So I'm asking again, since it is not a Niger thing. Oh, sorry, let me talk to a UK person. So, Nkiru, what is your take? Do you think Nigerians actually? I have a feeling I know what, because Nkiru, this has to do with what we were discussing last week about mothers and their children in school and everything, and how they don't want to take responsibility for their own child or their own what happens to them and things like that.
Yeah.
So, do you think this is something that happens in the healthcare system as well? Do we also, because actually I would say America can be quite similar to Nigeria when it comes to access to healthcare, in that you people have to do co-pay, you have Medicaid is different from Obamacare, you have to do all this insurance. But we don't have that. We have NHS. So even with free healthcare, do you think so? Number one is it available? We have dealt with that when it comes to Nigeria. Number two is it accessible? We have dealt with that when it comes to America. Number three is it affordable? And we're dealing with that when it comes to free NHS. What is your take on how Nigerians take their health?
I don't think Nigerians take their health really serious. They wait until 11th hour. And by 11th hour, some doctors can't help you now.
Yes.
If you don't if you feel a pain, I mean, me, I won't lie. Like Rachel said, I'm guilty sometimes. But for myself, though, I don't do it with my kids. The minute that they do, as far as it's not what plaster can cure, we are going to A&E. I'm not playing with their health. Me, I am Agbaya. So sometimes I could stay at home and be self-medicating, which I shouldn't really, because if I feel anything, at this age now, if I get ill at this age, it's hard to know what exactly is wrong with me. So I need to go in to have myself checked out.
Yes.
But to be honest, like, I think it was Mutiat or Lola, I can't remember who was talking about it, that in Niger, if they're sick, instead of to admit they're sick and go to hospital and have themselves looked at, probably financial issues and stuff, they will say that person will do them from village. Someone's got their report. You know, it's the stupidity of it. But really and truly, like here, healthcare is so accessible. Any little thing, we know where to go. You go to hospital, they will treat you. They won't just leave you to be sick and, pretend like there's nothing wrong. You know, so sometimes we just don't go. It's free for us here in Nigerian, but we just don't go because we don't want to. Or it's only a headache, I'll take paracetamol. Or it's just an arm pain, I'll just do exercises, you know. But there are things that you have no choice but to attend because you know it's for your own health.
Yes.
But I know Nigerians, we're like that. Like malaria now. Before we go to Niger, we take amala. Amala comes from Niger to us here to drink, to enter Niger for mosquito to bite. I mean, really? Go for your vaccine.
So I'm the same. So when I go to Nigeria, I don't take my vaccine anymore. I just go, let the mosquito bite me very well. Then I buy Coatem and bring me and my Coatem. We come back to the UK. Anytime I'm looking at my body that, this my body is doing me somehow, I'll just pop a pill. I'm being honest because this is the show, right? Let's really talk about the way we act and the way we treat our healthcare and the way we treat our bodies, because I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine a while ago, and I was like, not only Nigerians I don't hear for this life with the slump. What's do? Slump ni slump to slump is a disease in Nigeria. No other country.
I'm tired of hearing that. Slump ni. What happened to slump? There's so many
everybody goes into a coma
in public and you woman. She aborted me. They did abortion.
How many abortion did you do?
Are you ridiculously? Are you serious? Come
yes, sir.
May God help us. May God completely help us.
No, we need it.
God help us.
We need that. God help. We need it.
So let me go back to, I'm going to take this with Dolapo. Dolapo, we've said it that we're the same. When it comes to healthcare, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to managing our health, taking better care of ourselves, taking taking preemptive, actually, because I really love the word that Mutiat used, and she's really into avoiding things before it becomes, preemptive rather than curative. We're very lax as a people when it comes to preemptive steps to taking care of ourselves.
I don't think it's lax. I think we just don't believe in it. We have to change your orientation. And the thing, even in the United States, the orientation is just being changed to preventive care. Now we're having a lot of HMOs. We're having a lot of everything is getting outside the hospital. So, and now we're having a lot of push. So it's like we don't believe in it. We Nigerians believe, when I'm still walking, I'm still moving around, and I'm still fine. Because when I'm sick, I go to a doctor.
Also, I've heard things like, my father was still going to the farm at 75, or my mom gave birth at 50, or whatever the case may be, without thinking about
I always use the analogy of people and generators in Nigeria, people in your cars. Your car doesn't break down before you service it. You service your generator. I know my mom services a generator religiously. You don't play. You can't let that thing be broken. If you can service your car and service your generator because you don't want it to be broken, why can't you service your body? Why can't you service your body? Go to the hospital, go to the doctor. I am here. Let's do all these things and move on. But we have to change the orientation.
Let me come in here and say this. We all grew up, if you grew up in Nigeria, we all grew up with this belief that, number one, unless the illness has got you bedridden, you're still okay.
So let me ask you a question about that. Where did that belief come from? Why did we grow? Who told us that?
I can't tell you. I cannot tell you where it came from, but I can tell you from the household I grew up in that once it was because, my parents having 4 boys and the last one being a girl, all the 4 boys were playing all sort of tricks like, you don't want to go to school, this and that. So it came to a point where, like, unless I see you crawling and almost dying, I don't believe you. Now, that is one belief we have. The second one for me, I'm not sure whether it's general or not, is that I tend to look at I've never really been sick except for the occasional malaria growing up. And my malaria is such that I believe that I don't like taking medication for it, not because I don't like medications, the regular tablets or whatever, but because I so much believe there were so much fake ones out there that I didn't know what to take. So my own way of solving this is go to the clinic that my dad's friends runs, and I get those 2 injections, the one that will numb your leg from here till 5 days later. Novocaine or whatever the hell they call that thing. And then take the malaria injection, and I'm fine. Now, growing up with this kind of belief, though, there's one thing with me. I had a crisis about 3 years ago. And up until 3 years ago, like I said, I've never really been sick except for malaria, and then maybe my injury where I broke my leg playing college, basketball in college and all that. That's it. So about 3 years ago, for some reason, I came to work just like today, and normally I take a break about 11, and I'm 2 floors up, so I go downstairs with a couple of friends. We go outside, we chill for about 5-10 minutes, and coming back in, I realized that I was so tired climbing the stairs. Really, really tired, that I had to stop midway and to, just catch my breath. And one of my colleagues now looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you? How are you feeling?" I described it, I'm tired, I feel kind of dizzy, and he looked at me and said, "Look, your sugar level is extremely high." That's what I think. And I'm thinking right now you should be going to the emergency room now. So, of course, I got to the emergency room. I called my wife from there, and I said, okay, even trying to call her, I kept debating, should I call her, because I know her, she'll start panicking. If she panics, she's at work, she'll be driving. I don't want her to drive, panicking, blah, blah. I'm going through all this in my head. Eventually, I called her, because when I'm filling paperwork, they're asking me for next of kin, blah, blah. They take my blood sugar, and eventually the doctor came in and said, you should be in a coma right now. I don't know why you're like this. Because your blood sugar is about 26. I don't know what it is in the U.S. I think they have a different measurement for that.
26, you could be in a coma.
So, of course, I'm on insulin shots immediately, blah, blah. that was the first time that I actually came to the realization that, man, I can die. You know, and that's
So
why
the
till today, my medication, even if I forget, I trust my wife, she won't forget. And believe me, she will tongue lash me till I go and pick that thing up and take it.
until you take your thing, yes, and that keeps you
So
up.
we don't pay. I've heard so many stories of friends who got home from work and just decided to chill in front of the TV before getting dinner, and that was it.
That's it.
I mean, I read about one tonight this afternoon now in Nigeria, in Ibadan. They said he just died peacefully in his sleep. He's my age. Went to we went to secondary school together, and I'm like, no, that's not peaceful.
No. Mm.
Something definitely is wrong. So there is a campaign we need to launch in that country to let people know that, you know what, you need to look after your health. And I think that if I don't, and I kind of grew up with this belief, like, if I don't know what is wrong, I'm okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That is totally wrong.
Worrying about it too much.
They always say what you don't know won't kill you. In health, that's a lie. What you don't know will definitely kill you.
A lot of men don't like going to the hospitals. A lot of men.
That's funny enough.
My dad was one and he passed away.
Sorry, 1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. Okay. So, Nkiru, can you please speak? And can I please have everybody else quiet? Because although we can hear ourselves, when we do the playback, it will be a lot of noise for the people listening in.
Okay.
So, Nkiru, go ahead, please.
I was saying a lot of men do not like to go to get themselves checked. So obviously, like now, with this prostate cancer coming through, and it's more a killer for men, a lot of men now have woken up to realize, apart from prostate cancer, there's stroke. You get young men dying, knocking out at 40. I've had my mates, younger than me, or boys that was a senior in school. They are nowhere to be found, They said, they passed away, they were sleeping, they passed away, like the rapper was saying. Or, he just had a stroke, he was in the bank, and his heart just gave up. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But these are people who, they felt something before. One of them, his wife said to me, he was not feeling well last week, and I told him to go to hospital. He slept, went to paracetamol, went to bed, said he was fine. He never went. The following week, he slumped. That was it. So there's a lot of men that do this, that don't like to be checked. My father is one. He's late now. My father, his eyes were yellow. They said jaundice. Me, I said jaundice, and I said typhoid when I saw him. They said typhoid. Doctor kept saying typhoid, but I said there was something more wrong with this man. Because my father is very stubborn, pig-headed, as he was, he refused to go and check. The man had cancer. His liver was double the size of his stomach in his stomach. So it was frightening stuff. But my father is one person who was the old school. He never went on to Nadai matter. Prevention is better than cure. My father never believed in that.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this culture. Sorry, someone was about to speak. Bimbo, hi. Thank you. Welcome, Queen B. Hi. So go ahead, Bimbo, please.
Can I quickly just jump in?
1 minute, please, Donald.
Sorry, I always thought that part of the reason why Nigerians and actually a lot of time black people in general don't they never take it quite seriously unless they're actually falling over flat on their face. It's partly because it's made to seem like if you're sick, you're
it's a weakness. Yes, I was absolutely going to say that. You hear stories about your mother gave birth and went back to the farm that same afternoon. Don't care. You hear things like don't care. You hear things like meaning no, you're not. Re is tired in Yoruba. You're not tired. You're sick. What is okonremi? You're not tired. It's this idea that and it stretches. We've had to deal with people who deal with who have mental health issues, and you can't talk about it. They will say that is an Oyibo illness. This is something. It is seen as a weakness. It's seen because I'm trying to work out when this started. Because when I think about being a child, Dolapo actually just gave me a different view, maybe because I'm a girl, although I have 4 older brothers, so I thought I knew what happened with boys, or I understand what happened with boys. But this one that Dolapo is saying about how you don't want to go to school, so you make up stories. For in our household, it was the opposite. Sickness was oh my gosh, Belel call me, this one, your mother is checking your temperature every 2 minutes. They will take your whatever it is, chloroquine or whatever, and mold it in your eba. So you will eat it with draw soup and you don't taste it and all of this. And that's when you can have all the ice cream in the world and all the whatever in the world. So I'm like,
whoever created a chlorophyll is the most hated person on this earth. I swear. Just putting it there.
So I'm just like, there must have been a point where our parents used to lavish all this attention on you when you were feeling a bit poorly or feeling a bit unwell, to when it became a thing of weakness to say, I don't want to get up today, I don't want to go to work today, or I don't want to go to school today, or when we changed how we felt. It's almost like you are a man now. You don't get to Kara, Bushin, Kara, tell you're a woman now. You some days you're not in the mood. It could be something as small as menstrual cramps that is really, really getting to you, and someone will say, "Oh, your mates are in husband's house. If you're pregnant, what will you now do? If you're now, it's almost like." And again, you go to the clinic and then you meet the nurses and they tell you you're being stupid. They touch you and treat you almost as though you are an inconvenience to them, that by you just even being in the clinic, you have just come to waste their time, or you're just somebody who is a little too precious or a little too holding themselves a little too highly. So I think if we understand, can everyone hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I think go ahead, please, Rachel.
Okay, I wanted to say something which will probably take us away from this line of thought that we are in. And the Nigerian system is sad, it's poor, it's a lot of things. But I think Nigerians have to learn to understand that healthcare is a business, and as such, they are the consumer. If we want change, if you want change, you have got to demand the change. You see some hospitals, and I cannot for the life of me understand why I would go to such a hospital and put myself with that doctor to care for me. It is filthy. They're so not involved in their care. If nobody walks in that clinic, it will shut down, but they will be forced to up their game. But we have accepted the mediocrity that is the healthcare that we have because we don't care. We think we don't have a stake in it. You wait until you're about to die. When you die, you say the doctor doesn't know what he's doing. But he's gotten his money and he's gone. This is no longer...
okay, so let me play devil's advocate here. And I actually do agree with you, but let me play devil's advocate, right? I don't work in a clinic. I don't have a clinic. I don't own a clinic. I know nothing about hospitals or anything. Until one day, my child is sick. Okay? I'm going to take my child to the clinic at the top of the road, which is the nearest clinic to me, which is the clinic I walk past every day when I'm going to work. I get there, and you're right. Maybe the clinic is not as clean as it could be. I see unmade beds. I see a nurse standing in the corner picking her nose. I see this. But at that time, my son is sick. At that time, I don't have stay with me. At that time, I don't have the wherewithal to say, oh my gosh, is this where I'm going to? Never. Nobody's going to come into this clinic until you guys clean up here. I'm taking my child away. Maybe the nearest clinic is an hour's drive away. Assuming I have a car, assuming I have access to whenever the next clinic is. Or maybe the clinic I do like. So, one of my cousins has gone to one and she said they did her very well there. They took care of her health and everything is on the island somewhere. I live in Surulere, Akobi Crescent. This is the one I can see. This is the one in front of me. I am assuming that for that clinic to be there, they have a better knowledge or a better understanding of what could possibly be wrong with my child than I do, keeping the child at home in the name of, have you seen that clinic at the top of the road? It is so dirty. Now, if I take my child there and my child makes it, comes out clean, comes out, healthy, they gave the child drip, they gave the child everything they needed to give the child, and that child is fine, then the next person that says to me, how did you find that clinic? I'm going to say, ọpẹ́lọpẹ́ wọn lára ọmọ mi.
Cool.
Is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to stand there and say, do you know what? It was dirty. The whole time the boy was there, the sheets weren't clean. You see, I can walk out of St. Anne's if I see an ant on the floor, and I will make noise to the Daily Mail and make noise to whichever publication or whichever media cares to listen until they close down that clinic.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but let me interrupt you. You will not walk out of St. Anne's if you were in the middle of a stroke. It doesn't matter how many ants you're seeing.
But that's what I'm trying to say. If I could, okay, let me just say, if I could, if what was doing me was not life-threatening or was not, I may do that. In Nigeria, this is the hospital I know. This is the one in front of me. If I leave this hospital and take my child to Mount Sinai, before I get to Mount Sinai, something will do my picking. That's number one. Number two, I have no guarantee that Mount Sinai might be any better. Number three comes cost. Yes, my cousin said she went to Mount Sinai and they were fantastic with her. They gave her everything. Her food came on time. Her medication came on time every day, each day until she got better. Registration form alone in Mount Sinai is 25K. I will sleep and I will wake in this hospital until this boy is fine, and I won't spend 25K finish.
Yeah, okay. I hate to interrupt. I'm gonna see that is one of the biggest issues that we have. You just know everything. You just at that point in your scenario, you just accept mediocrity.
Absolutely. No. Like I said, this is devil's advocacy. I'm not, which is why you guys have Obamacare and all the different levels of healthcare. We don't have that in the UK. So I can only talk about the systems I know. In the UK, we have one level of healthcare, and it is NHS. The only thing you get from private healthcare in the UK is speed. So maybe you are on the list for a blood donor. You may move up the list a bit quicker if you are, if you are on a private, if you're on Bupa or whatever the case may be. That is all. We get the same doctors. We have the same surgeons. I stroll into any clinic anytime. If I don't want to go to the one next to my house, I can go to one further away. If I want ambulance to come and pick me up in my house today, I will sit in my house and you hear wow, 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 and ambulance will come and pick me up. And that is fine. I agree in Nigeria, I'm just trying to say, and again, this is devil's advocacy. I don't think anybody should sentence themselves to dirty hospitals or to inferior healthcare or to mediocrity. I don't think anyone should. I'm just trying to make a point of saying maybe they do because they don't think they have a choice. And if you think they have a choice, I would like to hear what that choice is. And then once you answer, please, if you don't mind, I would like Christiana to maybe rebut or confirm a lot of the things that you are saying.
Yeah. Because I'm so, and sometimes this particular topic drives me crazy. Emphasis on the word think. They think they do not have a choice. Yes, I agree. When you go into a hospital in an emergent life or death scenario, yes, I'm not necessarily expecting you to walk right out the hospital with that key. But while you are there, and I will say this, even for a hospital in the United States, there are hospitals I will mention off the bat where I'll tell you, you have your family member in there, you need to sit your ass right by that patient, keep your eyes open, and be aware of everything that's being done because certain shady things will happen. You need to be aware. That basket with the needle sticking out, you need to make sure that you guys need to take this away or push it somewhere. We do not do that. The moment your kid is stable, you also need to be finding a better place to take your kid. And remember that healthcare is not cheap anywhere. Anywhere, not cheap. You can never spend. You can never spend. Yes. You can never spend 500 naira to treat a person, and that's a different topic because we never prepare for that, and we expect to go to the hospital and have it be free. It does not happen. Even in the United Kingdom, you guys pay a lot of taxes to get that health care that we define as free.
In the United States.
Free. In the United States, let's not talk about how much goes off my paycheck for health care, and then the co-pay and the co-insurance. So when we talk about all of that, you have to be a very active advocate of yourself because It will not change otherwise. Yes, you're not going to rush that kid out of there. You go to the kid is stable and find a better place. And when somebody asks you, yes, they did something, but that hospital is not a hospital that's good enough. Exactly. That's not the time to say, Mama, no. This is a business transaction. And if what they did was subpar, you need to be able to say it.
Okay, so let's deal with this, because this is how we make changes. Sorry, come in, please. I think I heard someone. Is that Christiana?
Okay, it's me. And I just want to buttress the point my colleague has said. It's like you getting first aid. This is an emergency, and this is the nearest hospital to you. Yes, they get the emergency, and immediately the person gets stable, and you see that what they are offering is not what you want. You have a choice now. You want to space. The next place to think you can get the good treatment.
Fantastic.
They don't want your life.
Okay,
you hold your life by your hand.
Okay.
I can.
Can you come in, please, Bimbo?
I can attest to. Hi, yeah. So there was a thing that happened while I was in Nigeria. I was visiting in Nigeria, and my sister-in-law unfortunately found out the day that I arrived that she had miscarried some time back and the baby wasn't growing. So my brother wasn't back from hospital yet, so I was the one that took her to the nearest hospital to us. This was in Ikorodu, and when we got there, she went in for to consult with the doctor. I was kind of out doing all the paperwork and the whatnot that needs to happen. And that's how, doctor came out, then the doctor came out and, he said to her that, okay, can she confirm she wants to go ahead with treatment? And I'm asking her what he's saying. And she's like, yes, he's done the scan. He's confirmed the baby hasn't grown since the last time she had her scan. Obviously, her brain is reeling. The guy's telling her, the baby has, the fetus has to come out, blah, blah, and everything. Now, she was very hesitant. She's like, hey, doctor, everything. And the next minute, the guy was yelling at her. The doctor, not the orderly, not the janitor, was yelling at her in the hospital reception about how, take over the call, if she doesn't trust him, he doesn't this and that. Now, see, me, I left Nigeria when I was 16. I still have, I still know about hospital in Nigeria a little bit, but even in UK where NHS is paying, where my tax money is paying, and I don't have to bring out check or card when I go to the hospital, they still wouldn't talk to me like that. So there I was, kind of like in utter shock, thinking, what? I get the part of the emergency of the fetus needs to come out. The baby might have been dead for a while. It's very dangerous to your health. I get that. But there was no diplomacy or anything around it. And there I was already thinking, okay, I don't necessarily want to be worried about leaving this hospital. But suffice to say, thankfully, I didn't act the way he did. And, I had to call him out and go and speak in private to him. And he apologized afterwards. And his excuse was that, well, he sees this happen every day and women are always in denial. I'm like, well, good for you. Do you think she lost the baby yesterday? She was born 2 days ago. So, of course, she's in shock. You, as a doctor, are not managing it properly. Now, this is one of the problems I have with part of the problem I have with medical care in Nigeria is the fact that they forget that just shooking you with a needle is not the only way to treat you. They forget as to the fact that there's all of that mental the emotional part that goes and the mental part that goes when you're ill. Sometimes they tell you that if the person has hope, it helps them get better quicker. If the person is in a good mood, if someone's in a coma, talk to them, read to them, do these things. Just the other part of care that goes along with it. That in itself also doesn't exist. So even if you now go to some giant hospital that you're paying stupid money and they have all the latest equipment in Nigeria and everything, their bedside manner is extremely lacking.
Yes.
In a situation where they might be able to talk you into having faith in the treatment they're giving you and that maybe you might get better, that's not happening. So all you just know is they're shooking you a needle, and how is that supposed to help you? So there's a whole thing.
And this is what I'm saying. They almost act like, you're an inconvenience, like, well, damn it alone kind of behavior towards their patients. So, yeah. Yes, please, Nkiri.
Yeah. That's another thing as well. Like, when I travel from here and go to Naija, yeah, I would not go to hospital in Nigeria. No matter how sick I was, well, that's after an experience I had, but no matter how sick I was, I would return back. Even if I had to pay extra money, I'd rather to forfeit that money and come back. I went to Nigeria before I had my son, who's 8 now. I was pregnant with him, and I was 6 months pregnant. I was in Nigeria. But I was coming back to have him here. That was for sure. There was no disputing that. I finished having breakfast one morning. You know now, moi moi and ugi. I had moi moi and ugi. And my head swam. I don't faint. I'm not a fainter. I've always been a strong, whatever happens, I could blink and feel it, but I would never slump. I literally slumped in my first time in my life, first and last. Now, I slumped that day, and my child's dad, my partner at the time, said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Look, I'm not feeling well. Something's wrong. I can feel it." And I was meant to fly back to London the week after. So this was on a Sunday. I was meant to fly back to London on 2 weeks after, so 2 Fridays after that Sunday. I said, something's wrong. I need to go to hospital. Obviously, you know Naija. And I think this is what puts a lot of Nigerians off as well. When you go hospital cards, you pay for blood tests, you pay for urine tests, you pay. I mean, really? But I can understand.
But it's not even just that. There doesn't seem to be any kind of UX put into it. My mom was a dental therapist. She worked at number 1 Broad Street. I don't know, for 40 years or something. Come on, the place you register, even if you have your full money, you are Khashoggi, you have come with your money and you are ready to scatter this hospital with money. The place you register is down there. Then the place they will check your temperature is in East Wing. Then the place they will check your BP.
We have kind of digressed a bit. The system is bad, but there's no question about that.
Yeah, the hospital I actually went to was St. Nicholas, and I know that's where my brother was born. It was one of the best in Ikoyi, St. Nicholas Hospital. That's where I went. And when I got there, before I was seen, I fainted. I was weak, and I was 6 months pregnant. Before I was seen, it took ages for a consultant. I had to pay to see a consultant because it was on a Sunday. I had to pay to see the consultant. When I went in, rather than a consultant come and check me out, they sent me with one nurse who now, you know the thing they used to check to scan and see the baby, if the baby is okay, and check all your... They did that. Instead of her to find out what was wrong with me, woman is there, and I didn't want to know the sex of my baby. First thing she said to me was, I can see something between his legs. I'm sick. I'm fainting. And you're telling me you can see something between his legs. Okay, what's wrong with me? Fine, you've told me now the sex of my child. What's wrong with me? Till today, they never told me. Do you know, I came back to London. I had preeclampsia.
Wow.
No way.
Hey, Father Lord.
No way. That's
and since then, I have promised myself, any query in Naija, I'm flying that night.
Let me come back. So there is no getting away from it that is also, apart from the fact that we feel like, admitting weakness or feeling any kind of weakness is, feeling ill is a sign of weakness. There's no getting away from the fact that it is expensive. It is expensive for the average person, and it is expensive if you have anything other than malaria or typhoid. Those are the only 2 things that we seem to be equipped to deal with. Once you have anything over and above that, it becomes complicated, it becomes expensive, and sometimes they do tests ad nauseum, some of them completely unnecessary, that cost you money. They tell you... Yes, please. Yes, please, come in.
So, you see, all what we're discussing here, all what we've discussed so far is actually like something that's happened immediately. But what has happened before that? Before everybody becomes acute, you have felt something. Before that, if you had gone to the doctors for your 6-month checkup or your 1-year checkup, if you had gone to see a doctor and you've seen your doctor and you do your basic blood work and all that, they can check you right there and say, okay, this is coming, that is coming. You can see all this can be found out when you do test it. But if you do not go, then it becomes expensive. Like someone has said, healthcare is expensive. Someone posted a picture on Facebook one day, and I was laughing. And they were like, the person got treated for a snake bite, and the bill came up to almost $100,000. And somebody said, I would have just died. I'm like, well, in Nigeria, it's healthcare.
That's up to you, yeah.
Health everywhere is expensive. However, if you do, that's one thing the insurance companies are now noticing, that I'd rather pay for you to go to the gym and run every day than me paying for your diabetes medication for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Now, if people understand this, if you understand that my healthcare, my health, I always put the owner of your healthcare is you. You own your body. You cannot blame a doctor. You cannot blame a nurse. You cannot blame a healthcare provider for what's going on in your body. If you do not care about your body, why should I?
Fantastic.
I'm being evil, and I'm being realistic, and I'm being serious. I'm being like I may come up a rude or something. But if you're a human being, do not care as your body, why should I as a healthcare provider? I've seen patients that will tell them come back within a month. Come back in a month. We'll have to chase you. Why would I chase you when the blood your A1C when the blood pressure is 150?
Exactly.
Why would I be chasing you around? But then when you have a stroke, my doctor did not say, excuse me, when I told you to return to the clinic in the month, did you? No. When I do health fairs when I'm in Lagos, when I do health fairs and I check people's blood pressure, I've seen blood pressures of like 170s, 180s, and they're like, and I'm like, do you take medication? 2 years ago, my doctor put me on medication. Okay, where's the medication? I started feeling better, so I stopped taking it. You did what?
So I really want to ask a question, because I really want to do something for balance. Okay, wait, please, Christiana. Everyone, 1 minute, please. Christiana, please come in.
Okay, I want to make a point of what Ichiro have just said. Like you have the money, you have the choice of you running back to the States, from Nigeria here. But you know there are some people that are just at the mercy of these nurses. They don't have choice. They don't even have the money to leave that particular facility to another.
Not to even mention St. Nicholas. Yes.
Yeah, in their hands. What do you think we can do?
I really want to talk about this, because it almost seems like Naija bashing. And yes, there's a lot of things we let slide that we could hold up our own end of the business. But I don't think anybody. So let me come to Mutiat and what you were saying about the blood pressure medication and blood pressure, and the person says, "Oh, I was feeling better, so I stopped." Do you feel like the person has 30 tablets, one for every day of the month, in the house, looks at that tablet every day and says, I am just not going to take it. I feel better. A lot of times, it is an opportunity cost. It becomes, do I spend this 12,500 on this tablet, or do I buy cylinder gas con and put it in the house? And it's not even as if this thing is really doing me like that. So my body is better. My body, then you start to justify what you actually want to use that money for. Then your child says one thing, jam form. Then one person comes and says, mommy, in school, they said we are going to need this. You prioritize what is important. I think if you have sorry, go ahead.
No, so I understand what you're saying. I understand 1,000%.
But then again, it's back to what we were saying about before, about because they're still moving, because they have literally not broken down, because they're still that medicine. I know somebody right now who had one kind of malaria. What do they call that? Cerebral malaria or something. So he's prone to, when he was a child, so he's prone to epilepsy, like fainting spells, and it could happen at any time as a result of this childhood episode that he had. There are months that he splits that tablet in two. Or he will take on Monday, he won't take it on Tuesday, then he will take the next one on Wednesday. So a month's tablet becomes okay for 2 months, to last him 2 months. Because his son had a cough. His son is 8 months old. His son had a cough turned to something else, so another thing turned to something else. Next thing they knew, they were treating this boy for pneumonia. So he doesn't have power to buy that tablet on the 30th of every month at all. So him seeing the bills right in front of him, the things he needs to do and everything, he takes that tablet so that it won't be like none entered his system at all. He will split the pill in two, or he will alternate the days that he takes it. So it's like there's reason to. Let us not just say Nigerians are callous. And let me be clear, I understand that healthcare is expensive.
Okay.
Sorry, Nkiru, 1 minute, please, Rachel. Nkiru does have to leave us. So, Nkiru, if you want to quickly make your point, and then Rachel will come to you.
Before I leave, we even have a problem here. You see, like women, we get sent letters for cervical screening.
Yes, I was going to talk about this.
A lot of us black women, we put it apart and say, oh, we don't, there's intrusive invasion, they're putting their hand and checking. But really and truly, down the line, a lot of women suffer this cervical cancer, a lot. But we don't go and do what we need to do for preventative measures, because they can find out if you have the cells that will change over and come. But even here in UK, we still know they do what we're supposed to do. Anyway, guys, I need to step away. I'll be back shortly.
Okay, so Rachel was going to say something. Thank you, Nkiru. We'll see you back in a minute.
Yes.
Rachel, go ahead, please.
All right,
and it was right along the lines of what Nkiru said. You see, the scenario that you painted, there is no doubt it exists, even right here in the United States, where you have to make a choice, food, medicine, or medicine, pain, something else. However, there are a lot of people that, yes, they do have this hypertensive medication at home, 30 tablets and counting, and they put their faith in Jesus Christ. They feel better. It's, there's power in the word, whatever it is. That is where the problem is.
I'm going to come to that.
What Mutia said. Before we get acute, it starts from somewhere. So before you get acute, you are hypertensive. The salt, the added salt, what you eat. Bear in mind that Nigeria has moved so fast, so quickly. Our diet has changed. With a change in diet comes a change in the diseases that you see. The healthcare system has not necessarily moved that fast. People have changed their diet, but they have not adjusted themselves along with the diet that they have. People eat bacon, sausages, and everything in Nigeria. Guess what that would lead to? An increase in your cholesterol, fat in your, clogging your arteries and whatnot, stroke. And they think they're living the good life, but they're not thinking about the consequences. You see, out here, based on the diet and everything that we do, healthcare has moved along with that. You are sensitized. Watch your cholesterol, do that. It's not in Nigeria. So when you have decided, listen, okay, not good for me again, bacon, I want to chop, you need to remember that bacon has consequences. And when you go to your doctor and you are saying to the doctor, hey, they do me one kind, you might also want to put it in there. You see, I don't eat vegetables, I don't eat that. I only eat bacon, sausage, and all this stuff. Then
as a big boy concern.
Exactly. Then the doctor can actually think and say, oh, you're at risk for stroke. You see, when we hold back information, your doctor's diagnosis is always going to be off.
Yes.
He will be treating malaria and typhoid. Meanwhile, you are at risk for stroke and all other stuff. And the man is focused on malaria and typhoid because that's what's predominant in our neighborhood.
Don't about information. That's another ballgame entirely.
So we have a lot. We have a lot. I'm jotting down. So we're down to an hour. I didn't even believe this show would be this hot, right? We have an hour left.
Speaking of things like that.
Okay, Bimbo, go ahead.
There's the other part that we do here as well, in the Western world, and maybe also possibly in Nigeria for some people, is where we actually then over-medicate ourselves, because we can go into Boots and get our ibuprofen or our codeine or our paracetamol or medication for flu or whatnot and other stuff. We over-medicate. We don't think about the reasons of why we're falling ill. We're not thinking about the fact that actually the pharmaceutical companies want to just be selling us medicine that will treat what we have, but will not cure us. So we're not actually looking at, in general, our diet as to how we cure what is wrong with us. So if you keep getting fainting spells, or you're having you're getting lightheadedness, is it because you're having sugar issues, blood sugar issues, or something, because you're not eating the right stuff, or because you're eating too much of one thing or another. It's all these questions that we need to be asking ourselves. The fact that we need to be taking responsibility for our body and all of those things like that sometimes we don't do. So there is also the other part of it is that when it's so readily available and so easily available to you, you just over-medicate. You don't think about how you prevent yourself from getting sick every time.
Okay. Thank you so much. We are actually at 10 minutes past 9. This is unbelievable. Like, go ahead, please. Who's that?
Can I have something, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. I think another thing we should be looking at is the way we communicate to the health provider communicates to the client or to the patient. Let me take an example. I was somewhere yesterday. A woman came in, all staying over. She was bleeding. Then I was sitting down somewhere. And then someone came. And the man was like, hi, Dekalo. I was like, and I asked one of my colleagues, I said, please, this man, is he a doctor? You need to see the way he was dressed. If that man has approached me, if I'm a patient and that man has approached me as a doctor, I will not allow him to attend to me.
To touch me, okay.
And when he came back from the Orthodox room, and he was telling the woman, operation the way he was communicating with that woman. This is a woman standing, bleeding. And it is a case of abortion placenta. The placenta has already separated at 24 weeks. This is a woman that is supposed to lay a fear. Calm her down. Tell her what is wrong with her. She's not let her.
This is very similar to what Bimbo was saying. Yes.
The way you communicate the message to her, so that when she goes back to the community and see another, a case of her, she didn't go to say in Kokoba election you you are just saying operation when I couldn't take it again. And the woman was like saying, operation and I went to meet her. I said, Madam, a joke. Sit down. A joke. A little bit. Because what is coming out of you it's not water, it is blood. And blood is life. You are pregnant. When the time is not even set. And for
a little explanation, a little calmness would have made all the difference in the world.
It's not about the baby's life again. It is not about your life. You are not after the baby's life. You are not after your life. You are bleeding. You cannot say you want to augment your labor. Blood will still be gushing out. So the best thing for us to operate and bring out this baby. The baby is already dead. The way and manner you pass out the message, we want people to call in and say, oh, if I go there, the way they attend to me. That's another area we should be looking at. How do we communicate?
So let me talk to you then, Christiana, because we're all saying the same thing about unclean hospitals, about attitude, about bedside manner, about giving the patient hope, about mediocrity, about. Why is the hospital, from their point of view, this way? I don't think anybody went to medical school, did 8 years or however many number of years, even that is the doctor, nurse too, did their own number of years, physician too did their own number of years, surgeon too did their own number of years. So all the personnel that it takes to run a hospital, I don't think they all did it just to be horrible to patients, just to not have bedside manner, just to not have that initial compassion. Nobody puts themselves through that. So where is this mediocrity coming from? Is it literally, just as Rachel said, because we have accepted it? I want to really talk to Christiana because you are in the system, right? You're in the settings. What happens that makes a doctor so callous with the words of his mouth? What happens that makes them take shortcuts with health, with very essential procedures, for example? What happens? Is it literally because nobody reports or nobody says anything, or is there something more endemic than that?
Thank you very much for that question. Number one thing is your personality, which one needs to actually work on. If you are someone that does not care and you walk in, you say you want to fall into the medical line, you will not take life to do anything because you don't care. you don't have that passion. If you are somebody that does not care about what happens around you, so if you are there already, if you are there in the medical line, you will not care about what happens to your client. You will not care about what happens to your patient. So when you say you want to save lives, you have to be calm. You have to rebuff yourself and say, no, I need to do away with some things I know that can harm my clients, can harm my patients. What extra mile can you go? Another thing that has contributed to that makes healthcare workers to be like, I don't care, whatever happens, is how the government handles the healthcare providers. What they provide for them to make them to be comfortable. The salary they are getting, are they getting it when when due? See what is happening.
So
now
they
in the
come to work frustrated as well. That's basically what you're trying to say. By the time they're even coming to work, they're equally frustrated. But what about private hospitals? What about private clinics? What's their excuse? Because some of them are just as rude. Some of them are just as impatient. Some of them are just as callous to patients, I should say.
Yeah. The part of the government is there. They need to take care of the healthcare provider. Are there enough hands? Someone that will resume since 8 o'clock, since 8 a.m. will work through the day. We'll be the one that will administer drugs. We'll be the one that will, that will do dressing. We'll be the one that will attend to antenatal. Just one person. That part is there. When you get a time that you will get a kind of, you will be burnt out. You want to leave it out on the next person. It's kind of transfer of aggression.
Okay, so people end up
a lot of factors. It's part of all this. Why some healthcare providers just behave as if
And of course, along with that behavior is we don't report, we don't say anything, we don't do anything. We take the behavior and we move on.
For those that know their rights, the report, they take it to any name. For those, because we have patient rights. For patients that know their rights, take it up.
Go ahead, Mutiat. Sorry, Mutiat was about to say something. Mutiat, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, do patients know those rights? I see. The thing is, I as much as I want to fight for Nigeria, I also pull back a little because example, there was a place in Ogun State that the government finally shut down. This is a place women go to give birth, and I was talking about it why would people go give birth there? From looking at those pictures, that is not a hospital. It's an uncompleted building. The floors are not even concrete. It's dusty. You go there and you go have a baby and all that. And see, as I'm talking about it, people are like, well, when the real hospital is too expensive, why won't I go there and have a baby? And I'm like, you know what? There's so much battle you can fight. There's so much battle, and you know that something is wrong. This is the problem with Nigerians. You're like, I don't want to come out. I don't want to hurt somebody's business so they won't swear for me or something like that. A friend of mine's dad had prostate issues. I went to go see a urologist. According to the account that my friend gave me, I was livid. So apparently my friend gets there. The doctor's hours and hours late. Hours. Like, they said the appointment was 3. The doctor didn't even show up until 7. As when the doctor showed up and they finally get to see the doctor did not even let the man give the symptoms, did not let the man talk like, oh, doctor, this is what's doing. The doctor just kept talking. And my friend was like, excuse me, sir, let the man that something
tell
is doing
you
talk.
what is doing him.
What is wrong?
The doctor apparently went off on my friend, like, oh, I'm a urologist, I'm a specialist, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm like, wait a minute. and I'm like, you accepted that? She's like, well, I'm like, you did not blast his entire line.
Yeah. So I've had something similar where my father was in hospital for a very long time with his leg. There was a growth and all sorts of things, and there was a doctor that was seeing him, and they were maintaining the leg or maintaining the swelling and all of that. But then they said there was this great doctor that was going to be coming to the hospital. Apparently, this doctor works all around the big 10 hospitals in Lagos, basically. So where the day he graces them with, August 27th is our day. He will be here from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. He's the best in the country when it comes to this particular thing. And this man came. The day that we had been waiting for, praying for, we're gonna get seen by nothing but the best, blah 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 blah, and he came, took one look at the leg, and went, yeah, it's gonna have to go. We're going to amputate. So my sister comes out to call me. So apparently all this was going on, and Baba Yemi had point blank said nobody should tell Rachel that he's in hospital. So I didn't even know that he was in hospital. So my sister was like, "Where? Sister, they say your father is going to be Mr. Hopalong. They are going to cut one leg." And I was like, wait, stop, slow. Who said which leg? What happened? Because I did not even know he had a flu. Not talk of leg to the point of they want to remove the leg.
They want to
now said, so she was the one that gave me this whole gist that this guy came, this is the guy that actually they've been waiting for the guy for 2 weeks. I'm like, are you telling me my father has been in the hospital for 2 weeks and none of y'all thought to tell me? The whole thing was like, oh, daddy has gone to work. Oh, daddy has just come back. Oh, dad said, oh, it's daddy that said they shouldn't tell you. Okay, fine. So where did amputation come into it now? With what Gewolo Falong John Silver? Then she says, and all this one that she's telling me, I can hear my mother. I can hear my mother screaming in the background. So she's the one who's like, oh, that the guy came, they've been waiting to see this guy. The guy has all this whole pedigree, this whole CV, that the guy said he took one look at the leg, that the whole consultation was not 6 minutes. That the guy said they will take it from the lower fibula and take it to the upper tibia and then remove it from the middle. I said somebody should tell him that if he touches one hair on my father's leg, everybody in that hospital is going to be missing a tibia. Nobody will have a tibia left by the time I'm done, because you do not remove a man's livelihood, which is basically what you're doing, because my father is an engineer. You do not take away a man's livelihood based on a 5 minutes. I mean, the way he was talking was like, I mean, if you guys can prepare the theater before I go, I have lunch in 40 minutes, I can do it quickly, sharp. You shouldn't say, hey. I said, tell mommy, she must not sign anything. Tell daddy, he should not sign anything. Oh yeah, get off this phone. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. If my father loses his leg, that doctor will lose his life. I don't want to hear. This man was ready to cut off. My father is working on 2 legs today. How did we get to the bottom of it? They removed the abscess. Antibiotics did the rest. My father just did 70 in June on his 2 legs. On his 2 legs. This man came and did a 6 minute. So yes, there is a lot of a one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind. There's a lot of these doctors that, by the time they talk to them, they say, Issa, it's me. I'm the mother of the person in room 2. Please, sir. They are kings. They are gods in their little...
Yeah, but that's something that is actually... That's something that's standard across doctors in general. There's actually... I'm not sure if it's a syndrome per se, but there's a God complex that is associated with doctors.
That's what I was going to
begin with. Now imagine a place like Nigeria where we are so prone to Essa, the special person. You be giving your small mates, the person that is omonue, you be giving them kneel down, prostration, because they have something that you perceive is above you, whereas that won't necessarily be the way. So in the Western world, where we kind of got to the point where yes, you can ask questions. You are allowed to challenge. Even then, some of those doctors, you still have to deal with their complexes, let alone in Nigeria where they're already being treated like gods. So the one that you're now coming, you're trying to act like as if you said have sense, they won't accept. And this was what I was saying about my sister-in-law and what happened. And I had to deal with the doctor in a way that, to be honest, if I was going to go to my Nigerian instincts, is to dress him down in front of everybody and just finish him. But instead, I called him to the corner and I spoke to him and said, look, blah, 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 what's happening with my sister-in-law, that you took an oath to care. You cannot speak to her like that. She just miscarried. And he was saying something like, he sees this every day. So that kind of, the guy had to come back and apologize to me. And this was without me not raising my voice. I never raised my voice. I never yelled at him. I never insulted him. I just called him up on his shit. And he came back to apologize to me. Even after he ended up taking out the fetus, he called me that I should come and have a look, that the baby had died. And I'm like, I wasn't questioning your medical prowess. I'm questioning your bedside manner. The fact that you deemed that it was okay for you to speak to a woman who just found that she's lost her baby in such an atrocious way. The guy was apologizing. His mentor, who was a 70-something-year-old man who he learned from, was apologizing. And that's the key thing. There's already a conflict.
I
wanted to come
Rachel,
in here.
Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes,
so,
please.
Bimbo, you see, I was going to say that healthcare in Nigeria still suffers from a God complex, as many other societies, but we're still so behind because we do not demand answers. Going to what the experience Bimbo is saying, I was 20, and I had gone to see a doctor in Nigeria. I was sick. I just took a quick glance at my chart, and I saw where he wrote anorexic. Was I 20 or 19? I think I was 19 at this time. And I freaked out because I am not anorexic. What the heck does this doctor mean? So I said, can I see my chart? The nurse tells me, no, you cannot see my chart. And I basically said, girl, you're smoking crack because I know my rights. I can see my chart. I was a Nigerian true and true up to that point, but I was a Nigerian that questioned. So there was an argument, a large argument, and this nurse is saying, no, you can't see your chart, it's my right. And I'm like, I'm not asking to take it away. I am saying I want to see what the doctor wrote because I disagree with that statement.
With something
the doctor comes out, and initially he is also like, what do you mean? It's same thing. I'm like, I'm not arguing with you. I just would like to see what you wrote because I'm questioning it. I did get to see my chart, and we did get to have a lovely conversation where he explained that his use of the word anorexic was not that I was anorexic. It was in that moment. It was one of the symptoms I was presenting. I would not have gotten that if I did not question them. If I said, oh, I mean, and I just walked away, I wouldn't have gotten that explanation. In that same clinic, my sister went 2 days later. The nurse opened a syringe and all of that. She opened a brand new syringe. But what she did not do was she did not open it in front of my sister. Guess what happened? My younger sister, who was 16 at that time, said, heck no, you are not using that on me. The woman pulled the mojuelo, all the old arguments. The girl said, what I know is
when you're finished presenting your birth certificate, so you will go and bring syringe that you will open.
You will go and bring another one.
I'm telling you something.
What was the end of it? Doctor came out after a bit of argument. Doctor also made an apology. Yes, you're correct because of this incident of HIV, and the nurse opened a new syringe. And that is my argument and my frustration with us as Nigerians. It is bad. We know it is bad. How does it get better? It will not get better. Remember, our healthcare providers are a product of our society. So that mother whose son is now a doctor, you see, she herself has become a doctor. She'll be giving you medical advice. How do you expect the doctor to be different?
Yes.
Doctor's only going to be different when you question. Look at your scenario. You said amputate the leg, and they do it to us here too. You will wait 2 hours to see a doctor. They will look at you for 3 minutes and be talking, and you're like, are you kidding me? You have to push back. We have to push back. That's what I'm arguing.
I mean, they simply drained an abscess. An abscess. is why they would have cut the leg with the abscess, with the everything that he's still using in the leg, and cut it and go. So yeah, absolutely, we do have to question. We have to push and push and push until it becomes a default. Until it becomes so. Let's go because we have 30 minutes left. We need to talk about solutions. Sorry, who was that?
Richard, that's what I'm saying. That it all boils down to you knowing your right. It's because you know your right. Your right to know.
Okay, so let me talk to Rachel then. Where did you hear from that you are allowed to see your medical chart even at 19? Where did your 16-year-old know that your 16-year-old sister?
I read. Rachel, I read. At that age, I was a voracious reader. Still am, but so I read everything and anything that came my way. I watched. I didn't watch as much as I read. I read so much. I pulled out an IV from my hand because I thought the doctor was treating me for typhoid and I didn't have typhoid. Until my uncle, who was in medical school, came and said, "Okay, Rachel, leave the PDR alone. Let me explain to you that one medication may be used for different things." Because I'm like, "Come, it looks like you are treating me for what I don't have." When I read this medicine in the PDR, at that age I was such a voracious reader and I was so hungry for knowledge that I questioned anything that came my way. If I didn't understand it, I was questioning it.
Okay, fantastic. So that's already answering one question. Question being questioning your rights, but the only way to question your rights is to actually even know your rights. Now, is there anybody, because the only reason I know my rights, I was a voracious reader as well, but I probably wasn't a voracious reader of my medical rights or what rights are, the only reason why I know what I'm allowed to do, what I know now, and is because of constant exposure to healthcare here in the UK. So if I went to a doctor at age 18, 19, and I asked to see my chart and I was told, no, you can't see it, I would assume it is because I can't see it, because I'm not allowed to see it. So how do we change that? How do we change that mindset? How do we get people to know what their rights is? How do we talk to people? And I'm talking about you and I solutions. I'm not talking about anything government needs to go. I don't need any answer that starts with government needs to, because the owner of the country is collecting healthcare in another. So we know government ain't about to do diddly about health. So let's leave government out of it. Let me go to Christiana. 1 minute, please. Let me talk to Christiana, and then I'm going to go to Mutiat. What do you think people can do in knowing their rights and fighting this mediocrity that we're speaking about? Should people know their rights? How can people speak up and fight? Is there room for the kind of things that Rachel is talking about, that Mutiat is talking about, that I was saying about don't sign? Because, for example, don't sign off for my father's leg is because I know that nobody can do any operation if the next of kin don't sign off on it, or if the person themselves doesn't sign off on it. But there are people who will be like, so there are people who don't know that they can fight certain things. There are people who have never heard the term second opinion before. There are people who may have heard the term and can't afford a second opinion. There are people who speaking back may end them being thrown out of the hospital, or that's what they think, like, so when we're talking about know your rights, how far can a Nigerian go? Where can they even find out about their rights? How can they even hold their rights and still get that level of treatment that they want, that they desire? This is to not to Mutiat now, to Christiana, please.
Okay. For them to know their rights, they should ask questions. They should prove for that. Ask why. The doctor has told you, I'm going to do this. Why? What is the reason for you for wanting to do that thing? The doctor should...
I think we lost that caller. So Mutiat, if you'd like to come in, please, and then I'm going to go to Rachel. Mutiat, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, please.
See, what I believe is education. I believe in education. People don't know right now, so that's up for us to teach. When I run a health talk on our Facebook, people come to me, my doctor said this and I don't believe it. Get another doctor. You have the right to ask for second opinion. Don't believe what one person says. Even here, we get first, second, third opinion, fourth opinion. God said. The person is not satisfied with the answer.
Yes.
By the time they have 4 opinions and all of them are saying 4 independent opinions, and all of them are saying, yes, this is where you go, then you kind of understand that that's where you go. People don't know they have the right. We have to teach them that you have the right. And we have to talk to our colleagues, that, the doctors that our uncle will be.
Yes,
you can't do things like that.
Yes.
You got to bring them back.
Fantastic.
We have to talk to our colleagues as well, as we are talking to ourselves and teaching our patients.
Yes.
All of this, we just have to keep trying and not give up. Trust me, I know and believe that it's frustrating, very, very frustrating, but we can't give up. We have to talk to ourselves, talk to our colleagues, put the information out there. I think I've been to some clinics that I feel like little fine print of patients' rights or something like that in Nigeria. It's not as much, but I mean, if you're paying, this is what I say, it's business.
Yes.
If you're paying for some kind of business or some kind of service and you're not getting your worth, well, you must be rich, and you don't care about that money. Because if you're not rich and every single naira is important to you, trust and believe that you want to maximize that naira.
It's that God complex, isn't it? Is they make the patients feel, and the patient's family feel like they're even doing them a favor. They make them feel like this is the best treatment you can get. They put them in the position of taking their money and still treating them like shit, like basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Even here where we don't pay, I've had a migraine before that it was constant. Like, I would go to sleep with this migraine that is killing me. My eyes cannot open properly. I cannot stand up straight. And I am dying. I go to sleep with the migraine. I wake up with the migraine, and then I open my eyes, and the first thing I'm feeling is this excruciating pain in the front and the base of my neck. I go to my GP, and I'm telling her that there is something seriously wrong. She gave me prescription for over-the-counter migraine pills, and I'm telling her that you are out of your mind. I'm a 30-something-year-old woman. I have had migraines. This is not a freaking migraine. So someone gave me a printout, a Word document printout of what a migraine is. And I'm telling her that you are wrong. This thing continued on for 3 weeks afterwards, and I was still in excruciating pain. It wasn't until one locum doctor, I went to A&Es, I went to everything, and they all kept giving me ibuprofen or something stupid like that, nothing strong enough. It wasn't, and every single time I told them, I said, look, I think this might have something to do with something that happened 5 weeks ago, where a flat pack wardrobe leaning against the wall just slammed into my back. I wasn't hurt. I was winded. But, I think maybe this might be something relating to that, and it's just a delayed reaction. None of these people paid attention until one doctor actually listened to me, a locum doctor, and he said that my trapezius muscle, I think is what it is, the triangle muscle at my back, was actually pulling the top of my skull, the top of my spine and the base of my spine. It was squeezing it together. Wow. So by that 3rd week, my spine was inflamed. If it touched my back, it felt like my back was on fire. Oh, do you know what this man gave me? Just extremely strong ibuprofen. Just stronger ibuprofen that had anti-inflammatory that helped me get rid of that pain. That was all it took. Yeah. But all these other ones refused to listen. I went back to my GP and I told her that she was incompetent. I kept telling her what the problem was, and she refused to listen.
And that is in a country where you're actually even allowed to give feedback. You're actually even allowed to even say what's wrong with you. So I really want to talk about this. I want to talk about you saying about the flat pack. Somebody, yes, go ahead, Christiana.
I was out of line. Yes.
Oh yes, sorry.
It's network. Yeah. I'm back now.
Go ahead. Yes, I asked you a question. If you'd like to complete it, please. We were talking about.
Okay. Yes. For the client, out to know their rights. That they should prove further. They should ask the reason why.
Yes.
Why? Yes. Why do you want to do this procedure? Why do you say I should not do this? And I think it's not a bad thing for all the hospitals to have a written claims right pasted on the wall, on the notice board. It is not something hidden. It should not be a secret.
Yes. Yes, unless you don't want to. Yes, and this person, Mutiat actually said something while you were absent. Mutiat said the importance of you guys, the fellow practitioners, the nurses, to also hold yourselves up to a standard, because the way I can talk to who was it that was saying about it was Rachel that was saying about the nurse opened the injection but not in front of your younger sister. And if the doctor had come and the doctor, it's up to the doctor too to say, Abba, no, you have to open it in front of Abba, you have to open it in front of the patient, otherwise, blah, 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 blah. You guys need to also hold yourselves up to a higher standard of practicing medicine. The same as you were saying about the doctor who spoke to the lady anyhow. You as a medical practitioner should be able to say, this is what is wrong with this woman. This is what is wrong with this woman. And you go back to the lady and you say, Madam, ejelunda, you can show me. Madam, if a patient is screaming till they're black and blue in the face, and it's almost like a me versus them situation, all the writes on the wall isn't going to make any difference if the doctor won't budge, if the nurse won't budge, if they won't do. The worst thing you can do is you will carry your family person out of there, which is not really what you want to do. You don't want to be dragging them on your back looking for the next hospital to take them to or whatever. So I think medical practitioners too should hold themselves up to a higher standard of this is, I'm talking about Nigeria now, because obviously here, you guys, you write reports, you have your own insurance, you have things that could happen to you if you put a foot wrong or what have you. But in Nigeria, the nurse will do something and the doctor will come out and cite the nurse. Like, madam, best it's actually quite worrying. It really is quite worrying. So
it's so sad anyway, because I don't know what happened to our etiquette when we were in school, in the medical school. They taught us etiquette. They taught us claims rights, patients' rights. We should let them know their rights. It's just so sad.
But they don't seem to want to do that, because it's better to play God complex. It's better to say, in this small arena, I am the God and you have to do what I say, and people take advantage of that. I want to talk about something.
And bear in mind, it also makes their job easier.
Yes.
Because they do not have to work as hard. When you are dealing with a clientele that is not educated, and I don't mean educated in terms of going to school or whatnot, educated in terms of their rights, what is going on, it makes my job easier, because I spend 5-10 minutes with you, I walk away. However, if you have some knowledge, I do get to spend more time. You're going to ask me questions. We are going to address the problem as it is on board. So I think it's a two-way street. I do not know why. I don't know what, because I know for me, when I went to nursing school, one of the things they taught us was transcultural nursing. You have to incorporate the person's culture into the care that you are providing. Yes. Does that happen in Nigeria? No. Not really. Bear in mind, even when I left Nigeria, I will say this honestly, I did not know the difference between an auxiliary nurse and a professional nurse in Nigeria. You cannot tell the difference 9 out of 10 times. And that's something that the professional body needs to address, because most of the people who educate the patient is the nurse. Doctors don't really spend so much time with you. At all. They don't have time. I tell my patients, when my patients tell me the doctor doesn't talk to me, doctor doesn't listen to me, personally, I think you really want someone who can sit down and spend time with you, I recommend a nurse practitioner, because coming from a nursing background, and as nurses, we stop, we listen. That is what we do. Doctors are usually in a hurry.
That's right. That's right. But we don't know this. We are actually more scared of of nurses than we are of doctors. In Nigeria, it's the other way around. It's the nurse that will say horrible things to the mother who is about to give birth and is struggling with labor. It's the nurse that will be the person that will be pushing your head up and down and blah 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 blah. It's the nurse that will have something to say if you press the bell too many times and things like that. Whereas it's the doctor that will say,
but I argue that these providers are a product of our society. 100%. And our society is a very angry one. They cannot be any different
Yes, I agree with that. I completely agree with that. So I want to quickly, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about back story. So like when Bimbo was talking about the flat pack that fell on her. And I also then, and as soon as we mentioned it, Mutiat made a sound that made me feel like, okay, Mutiat has something to say about this. And I also then want to talk about religion. How do we separate faith from healing, basically? So backstory, I went to my GUM clinic. I don't know what you call it in America, but it's like the sexual health clinic.
Gyno clinic.
No, see, we don't. Yeah, ours is. What is it? What does GUM stand for, Bimbo? I don't know. GUM is sex,
gynecological something,
gyno, urino, and
genital, urinary, whatever thing.
Exactly, but it's the only thing I know is STI, belle. That's basically the two things that I got. So I go and I get my MOT, right? I check all my herpes, I go once a year. It's just something that I do. Now, I went to a new one for the first time. So, of course, she's asking me, no. I wanted to get on the pill. So before she puts me on the pill, and then I also wanted to do my STI. So before she did any of that, of course, she runs you through the, this your sexual partner? Is it your first sex? Is this your only sexual partner? Is this an exclusive relationship? How long have you been dating? Okay, so when I'm like, is one uncle like that? That's, you don't worry now. Isha, just bring this thing and let's do, there's a lot of, embarrassment towards saying, actually, this is what I did and this is why this, and a lot of times people know why they are in the state that they're in and they don't want to talk about it. They actually don't want to mention it and stuff like that. So how do we deal with that in Nigeria? Bearing in mind, I have heard of cases where a wife will have a conversation with her doctor and the doctor will tell the husband. So maybe they're trying for a child or something and the wife will say something in confidence and the doctor will still tell the husband, or vice versa. I've heard of cases where a young lady who may completely be emancipated, she might be 19 or 20 or what have you, will have a conversation, and because this is the family doctor, your father went here, your father's father went here, then the next time they see your mother in Ikoyi Baptist Church, you'll say, la bucket here, they be was clinic me last week and what have you. So people are like, listen, I only have a headache. Just treat my headache. They don't want to go into the background of what they're doing, what their sex life is. A lot of the time, maybe because they don't, I'm just saying using sex life as an example of something that's taboo or something that, people don't want to share. But sometimes because they think people are going to tell someone else, or indeed in a country like Nigeria where we have a lot of religious hypocrisy, because they think they're going to be judged. So how do you think, and I want to direct this question to Christiana for the simple fact of, because I know Mutiat has something to say about this, but Christiana, please concisely, how do you think, especially for you working with HIV patients, how do you think people can still get a level of care whilst maintaining their dignity in a country like Nigeria?
Well, it's been a difficult thing, and I think we are really able to achieve with few people that they are able to live above stigmatization and self-denial. Yeah. Stigmatization goes a long way. Not allowing people to come out and say, I am positive. And being able to, to be able to be.
Sometimes it's not even until you're positive to be able to say, I'm sexually active. To be able to say, listen, I just had sex. That's why when a lot of times when people are saying, Nigerian women are using abortion to do family planning, it is because you cannot, in some instances, walk into a clinic and demand your pill and demand some certain things. And if you go into a shop to buy condom, and the girl on the other end is she's putting a track, a Christian track into your thing that you have bought, and you're like are you okay? Do you get to tell me who or when or how I can, so to even take care of yourself is difficult because people are judging the whole time. You go to a clinic as a young girl, you too, you have started following man. Hey, Mrs. O, come and see this, which I've seen. I said, my mother works in a dental clinic, but it was in a whole hospital. And I have seen all these shenanigans time and time again. So how do people take care of themselves or take care of their health without resorting to, drink stouts with I don't know, some kind of concoction, or resorting to self-medication in a country as hypocritical as Nigeria to avoid things like HIV, to avoid becoming a statistic? Hello?
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
So like I was saying that
So Rachel America, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Okay.
For those that have been able to live above stigmatization, they will need to come out and say, no, yes, I am positive, this is my life, and I'm still living fine. You understand? And even for those that are able to come out to declare themselves, they say, I am positive, they still get a kind of lashing. You see people going into their private life to go and say, what do you mean? Why are you coming out to say you're positive? Don't you think what will happen to your children? It is far above that. When you see people coming out to declare their status, it is not people to be aware that this thing is real. It is not fake. So this person can have this virus and can still be living like this.
Yes. So what you're saying is actually the people who can speak their truth and walk in their truth are actually needed. They're actually needed as the ambassadors of, if you take care of yourself, if you stop burying your head in the sand, you can live, you can live okay, you can live healthily, you can have a healthy life, a healthy long life, as long as you do the right things and get your checkups and take your medication.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go to Rachel America. Would you like to add to that real quick?
Yes, and that's exactly what I was going to say, where as a people, we do have to pay a price. We have to sacrifice, and that's part of the sacrifice. People need to take the bull by the horns. In the early days of HIV, it's still a stigma, but maybe less of a stigma than it used to be. It was such a stigma that these people would have no one to care for them, nothing. You hear a patient with HIV and everybody falls back. It took really brave people to own it and come out and say something, and it's only in recent times that stigma has diminished. Until that happens, healthcare providers are not magicians. It's not going to change magically. People have to own it. People have to accept they will be stigmatized, but their children's children will not be stigmatized. Until we pay that price, we're going to remain the way we are.
Okay.
Someone has to boldly go to the pharmacy and buy the condom. If they put track in your paper, take it and give back. I'm going home to do somebody. What are you going to do? Exactly.
But I may use your track to wrap the used condom when I'm done. But thank you anyway. So, is Mutiat there? Mutiat, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
Everybody said everything I wanted to say. We have to just be brave. Everybody just has to be brave and step out and, and speak your truth. Now, with Nigeria and religion and, healthcare, you see, pastors hold a lot of power that either they know or they don't know that they wield this much power. So, and they know they have to use it well. Like, you can't be saying, Omiadura only is what you use, Omia where
they know it too. They know it. But the reason behind the reason behind Omiadura is that Omiadura doesn't come free. You have to buy that Omiadura. Even if you don't.
I'm not even saying don't buy Omiadura, but then you're being hypocritical when you are telling people Omiadura is what you are using to treat yourself, but you know that when you go to the medical center beside you, you're getting your own care, you're seeing your doctor is giving your cholesterol medicine, and you're following up and you're doing everything you're supposed to do. But you're coming to the church and saying, it's Jesus that's doing this for me, it's God that's doing. I've heard numerous stories of ladies being pregnant, and wanting to get pregnant, and they're doing IVF on the side, but they're coming to church to pray. But then when they get pregnant,
which is fine, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing against faith. The one I don't like is the opposite, where you forsake science, medicine for completely for Adura. That is the one I have a problem with. If you are doing your IVF and you are backing it with prayer, because let's be honest, out of 100 people that do IVF, how many of them happen to conceive? How many of the conceptions happen to turn into real babies? So if you're one of the miracles that got, Tieduro, or let me try, that yours stayed in your body and you didn't lose the baby and you're actually able to carry the baby to term, let me not even lie. If you believe that it's Jesus that did it, then no more, it's Jesus that did it for you, because there are many people who did the exact same thing you're doing.
Do not negate the fact that you actually sought out medical care.
Yes.
Do not negate that. Do not just throw that under the bus and somebody else is just standing there praying. When you know
and the pastors also have a lot to do. I'm glad Dolapo has joined us because Dolapo has a lot to say about charlatan pastors and all of this. But they are, when someone comes out front to give a testimony and actually says, and a lot of the times the pastor knows that this person is now fine, this person is now okay, and the person pastor, I just said I should come and bless you with this small, thank you for staying with us, thank you for praying with us, Ray. Actually, I'm thinking of doing a testimony in church next Sunday. Look at my leg is working. Look at my hand is working. And the pastor goes home and opens the envelope and it's 100 G's. And the pastor says, come and do your testimony today. Don't even wait until Sunday again. There are people who believe that, we've had this conversation about Covenant University, where the people who built Covenant University, for lack of a better word, can't afford to send their children to Covenant University.
Exactly.
So if you're having a situation where you have a health thing, we need to talk about pastors who exploit this, who are hypocritical, who see vision and see that this thing that's worrying you in your stomach is a devil something, is a this, whereas the truth of the matter is you had dysentery that could be treated, that could be, we spoke right at the very beginning when we started this show. I got the opportunity to interview a fertility doctor, and the first 45 minutes was spent just dealing with this, that the average Oyinbo will try to have sex and have a child the traditional way. Let's get together, let's bump bodies, let's do this and see what happens for 12 months. If they are TTC for 12 months, this is average now, just average. If they're TTC for 12 months and they no hook, they are coming to their doctor fast.
Exactly.
Fast. Even before the 12 months, they would have been doctors say, abegbo, this thing I've been trying, every month I'm seeing my periods, So by the time she comes in the 13th month, you better believe she's coming with fire on the mountain, she's coming, and then instantly they do the test. Instantly they say, actually, it's your ovaries, or actually, it's your sperm count, or actually, there's nothing wrong with the two of you, you just need to keep trying, or you have a hostile, whatever it might be. It might just be, just improve your diet, cut out some stuff, eat some veg, you're actually fine, you're just not, just make yourself a bit healthier, make your swimmers a little bit more motile, and make your eggs a little bit more receptive. My people, they will drink one olive oil that one pastor has prayed on. My people will do 3 days, Lorioke, Tiko Jaleti. My people will fast for 1 month. My people will do everything but check their plumbing.
Exactly.
But check their fertility. But talk to a doctor. But they will do literally everything. They will listen to old wives' tales. He was telling me that some of the things he has heard, by the time he will say to the woman, what are the things you've tried in order to conceive? And she's like, no, nothing, just the old fashioned. No, seriously, what are the things you have done? And then when he starts hearing that, and then one my sister, she said after sex, she put her 2 legs up, she put her head in the dustbin, that's when she conceived, that in fact it was twins. Another one came and said, that you must eat certain things for 7 days before you can have the sex. Another one came and said, there's one drink, kojo, there's one concoction that the mother sends from Nigeria, is one horrible, foul-smelling, disgusting thing, but that's the one that cousin Remilekun drank. That's the one that cousin Labake drank. That's the one that cousin Lagbaja, and now they're all pregnant, or now they all have kids. So she's drinking this God knows what they put inside the bottle or whatever. And by the time they do a test, I'm like, this thing is just eating away at your whatever, at your liver or at your spleen, at your whatever the case may be. So he was saying that there's just a whole situation where there's certain things we will not even discuss. Whereas Oyibo don't blink. They don't blink. They'll come and say, I've been married for 12 months. We're trying to have a baby. It's not happening. What do we do? What do they will drag, this is my husband. Whereas we can't even get our men to go to the hospital to discuss fertility, to discuss, and that there's certain tests that stop at a point because he can't. It's like, I need you to come with your husband. I need you to come with your husband. And the next time the woman will come and she will say, doctor, is this not something you can do just for me? It's me that, my husband, his work. Yes, all the men are working. All the men cannot come. Now do well. Listen, I cannot just test you. I need to test the two of you. And then he was talking.
You mean that you get pregnant now?
Exactly. So he was saying about even secondary fertility, that there's something called secondary fertility where the men have a child from, when they were younger or something, where problem or what have you, and say, Ojelo wadi, you better go check yourself. You better go that I've had a child or and then they go and meet. She comes, she now says, please, doctor, I already know it's me. My husband has a child. Please, what can you do for me? Please help me. Please, what can you do for me? And he's saying there is something called secondary infertility, where you may have had the child. He may have had the child at 23. All his swimmers were agile. All his this is this and everything. You have a husband who smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day, who drinks beer every Thursday, every Friday, who is always out with the boys and everything, who is now 47, and he's telling you that it's you at 34 that has the problem. Tell him
in fact, I hope I have it safe.
You need that problem in your life. We need another Barry White.
You don't your picking finish now. It's because you don't want your
picking. I won't begin by diaper all over again. I hope I get it. If there's medication to get it, please let me know.
Temporary to get secondary.
You get the snip. That's what you do.
You can get a snip.
You guys are just so weak.
You looking to chase him away.
He says sleep like what? I be dog.
That's what happens now. You get the vasectomy.
And to reverse this is even way more painful, right?
Yes, so.
But why are you reversing?
But why would you reverse now?
Why? You don't want me to go to Baba God with everything I was born with.
Why do you need to reverse though? You still have what you were born with now. You don't need to impregnate angel when you reach heaven. Just leave it.
To say I be Muslim now, you don't know how many virgins they with.
Shembo,
oh my God.
Do you need, you know what? You lot are ridiculous. You lot are ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 o'clock. I can't believe it. It's 10 o'clock. Dolapo, you're going to say something.
Yeah, basically that, what the problem we have, and I think I've mentioned this before on this show, is that, number one, we always believe that there must be an intermediary between us and God when we're dealing with God. And for those that call themselves Christians and don't understand that, that is not true. We must always have, and this is a carryover from our days of having all this traditional worship, religions that we've had, there's always like a Dibia, a Babalawo, or whatever you want to who will always help us approach God. So we always believe we worship that man. Except in Christianity, that man is now called a pastor.
Absolutely.
Now, that is why most people, when they give testimony here, and I want to thank Pastor, my daddy.
Particularly my daddy and your daddy.
It is the most infuriating thing I can never hear in my life when I hear that. Like,
or they say my pastor said that my wife.
The pastor is there sitting, always on a very comfortable chair, smiling like, look at me. It's terrible. And that is something that we need to get away from. Yeah. I'm not saying that we should get away from Christianity, but I'm saying that Christianity is not a religion. No. It's a way of life, and it's a relationship between you and God, period.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. I think.
But before we go, I want to ask you, what will happen Friday? Because I didn't get any.
Yeah, Friday. I was gonna. I'll get back to you about that. But we're back to regular programming this Friday. I'll explain everything to you. I saw your message. I'll get back to you. Rachel, you're about to say something because we're totally at the end now.
I think also the Nigerian Christian has to understand that being a Christian does not protect you from consequences.
Absolutely.
I mean, the entire Bible, there's nowhere where any servant of God is protected from the consequences of their actions. So if as a Christian you opt to use holy water, pure water, whatever it is to treat your ailment, there are consequences. You will die. It may be a short death or a long death, And I can totally relate to that.
All the disciples died a violent death, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I say this not from a cliche point of view. I can totally relate to that because in my faith, I do not accept blood transfusions. And I have been so close to a point where it was a choice, accept the blood transfusion or you may die. Did I choose not to take the blood transfusion? Yes, I did, but it was with the understanding that
there are consequences
I was
to your
not
choice.
Coming back to shout to a doctor that, hey, you didn't know what you were doing. This was my choice. But many Nigerian Christians are like, I take the holy water and I'm well, or otherwise it's the doctor that doesn't know what he's doing. There are consequences to our choice.
Not even just that. It's more like, if I don't take it, then that makes me a good Christian, or anyway, my place is in heaven, or, I'm going to... No, it doesn't make any difference. You're just going to die like the rest of us, and you're going to face... you are going to face the same judgment day.
You're just doing it earlier than other people.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
One of the things that got me kicked out, not kicked out, I left. Basically, it was, I remember they had a visiting pastor for a 3-day program. In the first night, Friday, which of course, by all force, I was asked to go. And the man was saying, write a letter to God, telling him what you want, blah, 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 put it in an envelope, blah, blah. And by the second day now, when everybody came back with letter, of course, I didn't come with one. The man now said that they should not put a seat. I don't know where that thing came because it was in the middle of prayer when he said it. But I don't know where it came from within me. I didn't know I shouted it out. I was thinking it. I just said, don't let that one chance. But I said it loud. And almost all the heads came up and looked at me. So I had to walk out sorry.
You can't be giving me assignments in church. You can't be giving me homework. You can't give me work to do. I ain't doing projects. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing none of it. None of it. If you don't, the God, Jesus didn't send me, so you clearly cannot send me. I know there's a friend of mine who attends a Redeemed church, and this is just, we really need to round up. He was saying about how his pastor says all visible workers. So if there's a Sunday you are not working, maybe you're an usher but you're not feeling well, so you're sitting down, that's fine, no problem. But if you are a worker in church on any particular Sunday, you must wear formal dressing, and formal dressing does not include traditional African dressing. You can't tie wrapper, you can't wear.
That's regime decreed worldwide, actually.
That is the most shocking thing. And they told him he couldn't work that day because he came. He didn't come in jeans and t-shirts. He didn't come in canvas. He didn't come in. He wore guinea. Is it not what we call guinea? Like Senegal, the buba and the shokoto. And they said he can't work. And I'm like, is this still about Jesus? Is this still about Jesus?
There's nothing biblical about that. Those are just church rules. And I remember when my Redeemed decided that, because number one, I didn't do any workers training. I refused to do anything. Well, every time my pastor would call me, I said, look, leave me alone. I'm a work in progress. I'm not ready. Eventually, you realize that the man, because I was someone that was always jovial. I talk around, I joke with everybody. I don't care what your age is, even up to the little kids. I play around with them. The man basically called me, we walked into his office, and he said, please, I want you to be a worker. I said, I didn't do any workers training. He said, don't worry, we will overlook that one for you. All right? And I said, okay, but that is good. But one thing is, I can't be dressed in, because I come in whatever I feel like. I can wear my guinea, I can wear my suit. I said, I don't like that rules. And the man said, we want you to be the head of the welcoming.
A Nigerian founded church, frowns on Nigerian dressing.
You're a founding member of the parish, so we want you to be that one that will lead the department. The people they will see when they come in. I said, but I'm not wearing suit constantly. The man said, don't worry, we can walk around that.
So these rules can be broken if
these rules can be broken.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it for the fourth time. This is the last one. Everybody come and be going to your house. It's enough.
We are done. We have so much more to talk about.
Thank you so much, Mutiat. I can't thank you enough. I know every day is a working day for you. You have been phenomenal to actually be able to carve out this time. Rachel America, as always, not just for today. You do this every single week in, week out. Thank you so much for assembling the people, the experts, because this would have just been me talking. What do I know is syringe? What do I know is needle, right? Thank you so much for facilitating. I know, Mala, I get PhD. So I am so grateful. I'm grateful for the knowledge that was passed today. I love the talking drum. We don't just talk. We talk about practical solutions. We talk about what can I do? What can you do? What can the next person do? So for that, I say a big thank you. We are trying to put together a couple of controversial shows. I hope I can pull it off. One of them is we would like to discuss submission in the marriage. Is that not correct, Rishe America?
Is that the S&M type? Are you sure?
What about Genty? S&M call.
Which of these submissions exactly? I was going to ask you.
S&M call. We have not heard Bimbo's voice since morning. It's now Bimbo. Mutia says she's in.
It's Bimbo.
We're not talking. My ears are pretty up.
We're not talking.
That's not the submission we're talking about. So
actually, we can do that. We can do a show about sex and kink, BDSM, and all that good stuff. So
we need to put that into the Nigerian community.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to do that.
Have you not seen people that they will say you need divine deliverance if you say you like being tied up? Divine deliverance. So all people that be doing doggy style.
They should come. Oh yeah, there's a guy. There's a pastor who went all the way to hell, and the only thing he saw in hell, he didn't see Hitler, he didn't see anybody. The only thing he saw was the people who were doing doggy style. I was like, Jewo, talk what you really talk, how it's really doing you, sir.
No man,
sir, you haven't really said the real thing that's doing you, sir.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're gonna be dealing with submission. Another topic I would love to cover, and I'm gonna talk to you offline, Mutiat. Again, we'll find a day that works for you. I really genuinely want to talk about being child free. People who by choice, Nigerians in particular, because it's something that's not a big deal in the Western culture or community, but people who by choice are not crazy about kids, who really like, I like my life the way that it is.
Who like returning whatever Peking they get back to their parents.
Yes,
like we had a day
and or people who are like, I just want one child, or I don't even want any kids, or children is not important to me, or what have you. So I really want to talk about these things, because these are real things, and women are being, then you see a woman who the child is already 4 years, 5 years old, and she's still talking about postnatal depression. She ain't depressed, she just didn't want the child in the first place. So yeah, we need to talk about childlessness, that is, you can't have kids, versus being child free, which is I don't want to have kids. Let's talk about submission within the marriage. Let's talk about this whole, the man is the head of the home, the woman is the neck. I don't know where we started doing anatomy and head, shoulders, knees, and toes inside marriage, but apparently in Nigerian marriages you need to do that. There's a whole bunch of things, but we want to bring all these topics to you because these are the things that don't just happen in Nigeria, but unknown to us, we carry them in our luggage with us when we are leaving. There are Nigerians who think that they are completely liberated, they're completely progressive, they're completely, and then you ask a question and it just scratches at patriarchal or traditional values they didn't even know they were carrying. The people that are like, I don't know about, no, I'm not sure how to, they have things they're carrying. They think they are completely just, oh yes, I live in the UK now, I live in the US now, I live in Canada, but they actually have some deep-seated opinions on certain things that they don't even know they have until they're asked, or until they find themselves in a situation. We've been on the show before where we have talked about the woman being the main breadwinner, and we've talked about men who think they're okay with it until they find themselves in that situation, and you see a very ugly side of them that shows that actually they're not okay with it, or they find out that a friend of theirs is dealing with that and they start teasing that friend or mocking that friend, or acting some type of way because they think so Yahweh Loti and boy type of thing. So they have traditional values that they didn't even know they're carrying with them. Because if you ask a simple question, do you have a problem with your wife anymore? No, what's my own? Our money is our money. Until you want to go and buy cigar and it's your wife that will give you $5.50 a head, then you'll be like, actually, I do have a problem with it. So yeah, we have some amazing topics coming your way. But for today, thank you to everyone. All right, everyone, say good night.
Good night.
Okay, everyone,
Good night. Mutiatio, bye bye. Rachel, thanks a bunch.
Bye.
I've been Bola. See you on the BDSM side. Toodaloo.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.